My name's Pat Osborne. I'm the Labour Party candidate for North Dorset in the coming general election. I am standing because I believe the people of North Dorset are in danger of being left behind. We've had decades and decades of Tory representation here and not a lot to show for it. We need a local voice for North Dorset in Parliament in order to make sure that we get our fair share. It was the first time I joined the Labour Party. I was 16 years old. That was during John Major's time, towards the end of the Thatcher years. My first memories of the Labour Party were from home. My mum's a Labour Party activist. My granddad was a trade unionist and Labour Party activists. We're a Labour Party family that goes back years. My first memories of being sat on the draining board while mum peeled the spuds, and mum would be talking in those days about Michael Foot and how he was getting a rough deal in the press because he wore a shaggy duffel coat or something along those lines. The press hasn't really changed a lot since then, still focusing on those personal kind of attributes. First joined the Labour Party when I was 16, got involved in some leafleting locally for European elections around that time. Then I went off to university and I was a member of Labour students. A Labour government came to power, kind of felt at that point job was done. The Labour government that came in, the Blair government at the time, brought in a lot of good things, a lot of things we can be proud of. National minimum wage, sure start centres. Only a Labour government would really have brought those things in. I then spent a number of years embarking on things that you do in your 20s, like starting a career and having fun as a 20-year-old. The moment I came back to Labour, I can remember quite vividly, and Jodie was pregnant with our second child, Paddy. Lulu, our eldest, would have been just a toddler, really, just a babe in arms, and she was tucked up in bed. And there was story after story on the news, and I could see the impacts of austerity in my own community, and news story after news story. And I said to Jodie one night, I said, Jodie, somebody needs to do something about this. And Jodie turned to me and she said, "You're right, Pat, what are you going to do?" And I was kind of taken aback by that, but I thought, yeah, you're absolutely right. We've all got a personal responsibility to do something about this. It's not good enough just to sit there and do nothing. I said, Jodie, I'm going to rejoin the Labour Party. And so I rejoined the Labour Party and got involved locally and started to become an activist and start to do all of the things that I could. When I look at the injustices that we have now, poor transport infrastructure, poor investment, low wages, high house prices, fuel poverty, all of these things were things that we as a family had first-hand experience of at the end of the 80s and in the 90s, but they have become so much worse and so much more acute. When I look at my two kids and I think, what kind of future are they going to have? We're at a crossroads now. We need to tackle the climate crisis. Now, I remember sitting in school when I was 13 years old and geography teachers were telling me about a climate crisis. So that's 30 years ago. The economy, along with the country and along with the planet, will all burn unless we act now. And that's what Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party and I stand for, actually. And as a member of Blandford War on Waste, a founding member of Blandford War on Waste, and I also head up the climate emergency or climate crisis working group on Blandford Town Council. I'm acutely aware that things need to happen and things need to change now. We can all go out and buy a wooden toothbrush, but that's not going to stop the climate crisis. There needs to be complete systemic change. People in their everyday lives need help in order to transition to more sustainable lifestyles. And an example of that is here in North Dorset. Most of us will drive around in petrol or even diesel vehicles. In actual fact, we don't have a lot of option a lot of the time because the bus services and the public transport has been absolutely cut to the bone. Now, it's not easy for us to. It's not as easy as just going out and buying an electric vehicle in order to do your bit as an individual. We won't be able to do that. We need support on an industrial level.